The United States has again pulled back from threatening military action against Iran, with President Donald Trump claiming Washington is engaged in good talks with Tehran. But Iran is flatly denying that any negotiations are taking place, even as tensions remain high across the Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. Pakistan, meanwhile, is stepping up diplomatic engagement with Tehran, while uncertainty over regional security continues to weigh on global energy markets. Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq held a telephone conversation with his Iranian counterpart Abbas Araghchi, during which both leaders exchanged views on regional and international developments, including the deteriorating situation in occupied East Jerusalem. According to Pakistan's Foreign Office, Dar has also invited Araghchi to visit Pakistan at the earliest opportunity, signaling Islamabad's intention to maintain close diplomatic coordination with Tehran. The diplomatic outreach comes as confusion surrounding claims by US President Donald Trump that negotiations between Washington and Tehran are underway. Speaking aboard Air Force One, Trump said the United States was holding what he described as good talks with Iran and suggested there was a realistic chance of reaching an agreement.
I was asked to by Saudi Arabia, by UAE, and by Qatar, and by Iran. We were all set to go. It's about at this time right now, and it would have been a massive attack. We're all set to go, but when the allies asked to call it off, you got to sort of say, well, let's see. And the reason they asked is they think there's a deal. There's a deal on Hormuz, and then there will be a deal on the nuclear, or you might call it the denuclearization of Iran. I call it the denuclearization of Iran.
So what should we expect?
We're holding it. We'll just see. We can do it anytime we want, but we were asked by the three primary groups. We were also asked by Iran, very strongly actually. They said, we'd like to make a deal. Now, I don't know what they say, because a lot of times they'll say that to me and then they'll go out and say, we don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, they don't want to be attacked.
He said that if diplomacy succeeded, it would be positive, but warned that if negotiations failed, the United States would resume military action that had been paused over the weekend. However, Tehran quickly rejected Trump's claims. Iran's foreign ministry said there are no negotiations taking place with the United States and no meetings are scheduled. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai said all Iranian negotiators remain inside the country, apart from Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who is currently on a religious pilgrimage in Iraq.
ما الان مذاکره‌ای با آمریکا نداریم. مذاکرات با عمان هست، متمرکز بر تفاهم بر سر مسیری که تردد ایمن کشتیرانی از تنگه هرمز رو تأمین بکنه.
He added that the only discussions currently taking place involve Oman and focus on arrangements related to the Strait of Hormuz. A senior Iranian official also told Reuters that no talks with Washington are planned and that Araghchi would not be available for any such meeting until at least the end of the week. The conflicting statements follow a pattern seen repeatedly during the 5-month conflict, in which President Donald Trump has announced plans for major military action before later citing diplomatic contacts as a reason for stepping back. Iran has consistently maintained that it has not resumed negotiations with Washington since the collapse of the June Memorandum of Understanding in early July. The dispute over the Strait of Hormuz remains one of the central issues dividing both sides. Washington argues the earlier agreement required Iran to reopen the strategic waterway to unrestricted international shipping. Tehran, however, insists the memorandum preserved Iran's authority over navigation and transit arrangements through the strait. Maritime intelligence firm Kepler says shipping activity through both major regional chokepoints remains well below normal levels. Between July 31st and August 2nd, only 9 vessels crossed the Strait of Hormuz, including 2 sanctioned ships and 2 shadow fleet vessels. Kepler said 7 of those crossing used Iran's unilateral navigation scheme, while none followed the internationally recognized traffic separation system. The monitoring firm also reported that 30 vessels moved through the Red Sea during the same period, with 20 exiting the waterway and only 10 entering, as Houthi-related security concerns continue to discourage commercial traffic. Kepler warned that until the United States, Iran and Oman reach a common understanding on navigation arrangements, both the Strait of Hormuz and the Red Sea could continue to be treated as contested waterways. Meanwhile, President Trump turned his attention to rising fuel prices in the United States. He publicly urged oil companies to lower gasoline prices for American consumers and criticized Chevron chief executive Mike Wirth for failing to credit his administration with supporting the energy industry, including efforts to expand market access in Venezuela. Oil prices eased on Monday after Trump's latest decision to pause military action against Iran, with Brent crude falling more than 4% to around $84 a barrel. While Washington speaks on diplomacy and Tehran denies any negotiations are taking place, Pakistan continues efforts to keep communication channels open. With shipping through the Strait of Hormuz still disputed and regional tensions unresolved, uncertainty continues to shape both Middle East security and global energy markets.